Hello, hello. I hope everybody's here. We had a big glitch there. I don't know how that looked on your end, but I have no idea what just happened there. I don't think my intro played very well. I don't think it did. Uh, I don't know. StreamYard didn't like my intro. I don't think. I don't think it did. So, anyways, hopefully hopefully that wasn't too weird for you guys. Hopefully, I am live right now. Let me just double check. I don't know. This looks like things froze. I hope I'm okay. Let me just check this here. There we go. I see me. I see me. We're good, I think. Say hi in the chat if you're there. And hope I don't know what that intro looked like. That was very, very strange though. Um yeah, trying to figure out what happened there. I think StreamYard just didn't like the the intro video that I did. I think that's the case. Uh, just in case, we're gonna attempt to play a different intro video just to see. And this was made for us by my buddy John. I think that played better, didn't it? I think so. So for whatever reason, StreamYard doesn't like my video. That's okay. That's okay. Well, since that one worked, we know that anytime I do StreamYard, I can't use my regular intro for this. So it's all good because I don't think anybody's in the chat as of yet. Anyways, isn't that interesting? So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my guest. I don't normally have a guest on this show. Not planning on doing it much like this in the future, but we'll tonight we are. We're going to have our good buddy John Evans of Behind the Fiends. Hey, John, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing fantastic, Steve. How are you?
Just great. That was the weirdest intro I ever had.
Yeah, it glitched on my end like real bad. It was like,
Yeah, I don't know.
okay.
I was like, it would like my browser, like it didn't like it. It did not like. I don't know. Works fine when I just do it in OBS, but when I do it on here, I guess it's no good. Now I know. Now I know.
I thought it
Okay.
was me there for a second. I was like, damn, do I need to back out and come back in? And then when you
No.
came on, you were like, nothing's playing. I'm like, oh, crap.
ah, technical difficulties happen, and at least it looks like we don't have anybody in the chat at this time to really worry about it too much unless they watch it on the replay. Of course, they'll watch it on the replay and be like, "What the hell happened here?" But that happened.
Show before the
That
show.
happened. Now we know. We just don't. We don't do that. We don't do that.
No one's half the battle. G.I. Joe.
So we're here today to talk about the last broadcast. This should be an interesting chat because I had never seen it before. It was one of those movies that I had heard about before. A lot of people used to say, "Oh, this was the movie that inspired the Blair Witch Project." So, and apparently, that's not really necessarily the case. Oh, hey, there's Chris Alverson is here. Hey, Chris Alverson is the lovely lady that put up with us for 3 weeks in Texas in Bastrop, and she's in the chat to say hi. Hey, glad you can make it, Christine. Christine, have you seen the last broadcast? Because that's what we're talking about tonight. And I don't want to spoil it for you. Well, I don't know if we're going to spoil too much with this one, but glad you could be here, though. I hope you're doing well. I'll be happy to see you at the premiere in August. We're excited about that. And people can still buy tickets on the Indiegogo page. Share it, Christine. We want to get more people to come to that premiere. We want a full house. A lot of people have gotten tickets, but we could definitely use more. So
And I've got
there's our friend
t-shirts to
Christine.
sell
I got her.
for I've got t-shirts to sell for Steve too, so y'all go grab it.
Yes, and we've got the link to that on the Indiegogo page as well, so you guys can check that out. Anybody who wants a cool T-shirt, we got that on the Indiegogo page. Go check it out. Our Indiegogo is doing pretty well, but can always do a little better, So just share away. I have now actually officially seen the first cut of the Sawyer Massacre. Hey, and there's the Drayton Sawyer. Hello, lads. He's show it because we're on StreamYard. Our good buddy. Where's mine? T-shirt? I'm sure we can get you a T-shirt, Chris. You've been such an amazing supporter of us. I think there should be no problem as far as
I'll
getting
give her
you a
one.
T-shirt.
Give me a size. I'll give her one for free for putting up with
you let us stay at your place for free. I think we can give you a T-shirt for free. That's not an issue. But tell other people to buy from John's store. He's got his online store. We have the link on the campaign. I took the perk down. We had it as a perk on the campaign as well, but apparently was it a $5 processing fee? So it's not the best to actually buy it from the campaign. So that's why we've just put the link to the store, and that's
Christine saying that she paid for one. Christine, I'll tell you what, get Steve your address and I'll make sure you get that. I'll get that out to you.
I remember you bought a poster. We got you the poster. I know that.
But I will make sure.
I don't want you to pay for stuff. Don't pay for anything.
Yeah, I'll get you that shirt out to you as soon as possible. I'll send you two. One free and one that you paid for.
There you go. Awesome.
But
I was talking about the first cut of the Sawyer Massacre I saw today. It needs a little bit of work still, but I have to say, I think everything is very fixable, and I'm happy with it. It's currently sitting at 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 6 seconds, which is a good length. That's before end credits. We don't have any end credits attached to that. So I don't know. I'm pretty excited now that I've actually seen it, and it's, maybe there's, I mean, it was a movie made for pretty cheap for the most part. So there's going to be things that you're like, I wish we could have done this, and I wish I could have done that. To me, as the director, of course, I'm like that because I'm picky, and we have a vision. I have a vision, and if anything I don't capture, I'm like, damn it, I didn't get that.
Artists will never be satisfied with their art.
Exactly. We're never satisfied. But there's definitely a few moments though that we get a few. I don't want to say moment. Few scenes that are like, whoa, we really got that right. So I like that. It balances. Not everything's going to be perfect, but there's those money scenes, and it's like, wow, we really did it. We got that exactly how I saw, and I definitely don't think I don't think people are going to view this as a gory film. I think it's got a lot of that same feel as the original. Now that I've seen a full cut, yeah, there's a couple scenes that are a little bit more but it's really not as gory as I thought it was going to be.
That was one of my biggest.
Some people think it's going to be.
That was one of my biggest nitpicks with this 2022 Texas Chainsaw Massacre is that it went over the top gory.
A little bit, yeah. And some of the CGI gore wasn't so good. I don't know. Wasn't necessary. I get it though. A modern audience wants their gore. So I don't know. I think a modern audience might look at this and be like, well, I wanted more gore. It's possible. But
or you could mind bleep them, and they think it is because everybody thinks the 74 is this bloodbath, and it's not.
That's true. There's still people to this day that think that the original is gory. So I hope that we captured some good brutality without having to show too much. And I'm pretty happy with what I saw. next time I watch it, I'm actually going to be making notes. This first watch, I just had to go sit through it and just kind of turn my brain off a little bit and just see how I felt by the end of it. And I gotta admit, I felt pretty good after seeing it, knowing that I know it's not perfect yet, and it's never going to be perfect. I felt pretty good. I felt definitely better than I felt after finishing the filming. When filming wrapped in Texas, and kept thinking to myself, "Boy, we missed so many shots." That's all I could think to myself is, "There's so many shots that I wanted to get that we didn't get." So, I mean,
Your
there's a what's that?
your I was gonna say your trip back to Canada, which was well documented by Scotty because he would send me pictures. It was a tale of two different men. One you could tell was just spent emotionally, mentally, everything. That being you, and Scotty's over there, yay, and you're just over there in the seat, like just gone.
Yeah, probably it was more mentally, emotionally draining for me than anything else. I think Scotty was probably more physically draining on him. Um, and the thing is, Scotty's a 40-year-old man playing playing a 20-year-old Leatherface. Basically, it's kind of odd that way how it worked that way, but I think it works. But he's not in his physical prime, so for him to have to do these physical things, very, very physical things, carrying people and lugging that chainsaw around, which was not a light chainsaw. It was not easy. It was not easy for him. So,
How much did
um,
that chainsaw weigh? That thing was beefy.
it's definitely a lot heavier than your average chainsaw. I think it weighed about 33 pounds, if I remember correctly.
Woo, swing that
Definitely
around,
not your
boys.
average chainsaw, and the majority of the time we had it off because it was so loud, and trying to handle that thing when it's on was pretty crazy, pretty crazy. So, there's gonna be a lot of dubbed sound, but that's okay. I think it still works. I think, safety first basically is what it boils down to. If we would have had that thing on interiors, on in any of the interiors, it would have damaged our ears because it was so loud. So loud. Not kidding. But, made it work. Made it work. I'm looking at the cut and I'm thinking, "Boy, it's not that bad." It's
Yeah,
not
it
as
was
bad as
basically
I thought it would be.
it was a chainsaw. It was a chainsaw that looked like it was ran by a lawnmower engine, a riding lawnmower engine at that.
Yeah, I had my eye on that chainsaw for a long time, and, a lot of people told me I wouldn't be able to get it. I proved them wrong.
Drayton
Hey,
just
there's a
soaked
buddy
up.
John from Doomsday's Crypt as well. I'm totally ignoring the chat, totally ignoring the
Yeah,
chat. I feel
Drayton said
bad
that
for
the
ignoring the chat. I'm
safety
going to
safety
say,
bar popped off and it kicked back on him.
"Oh, sent you a DM on Instagram." I think he's talking about you,
Yeah, the
John.
shirt that he won the other day for the trivia.
Oh, you're in here too. I never post in the chat while I'm in. I like the look of Sawyer Massacre. Thanks. It's getting there. The new TCM looked too clear. Yeah, I mean that's I'm okay with that. I mean you're right. You're not wrong. Texas Chainsaw Massacre should have a somewhat of a dark grainy aesthetic, I think. So, anyways, yeah, exactly what but it's modern film. Modern film, they're going to make it look as shiny and polished as possible. If unless it's done by an indie company. Christine, all the teasers are fab. So proud of y'all's work. Oh, thank you, Christine. I'm so proud of your work too. I mean, I've seen you have a clip in the movie. I've seen it. It's there. I won't spoil much, but took me back to 1965, even though I wasn't alive then.
Me either.
Wasn't even alive. The gore was good in the new TCM, but lacked in story. Yeah. Love my bragging rights. You say, yeah. That's awesome. That is awesome. Nearly got chopped with my chainsaw. Oh, be careful, man. It's dangerous. There's our buddy John Henderson. Thank you for tuning in, John. When does it leave my base? Oh yeah, I gotta send you the shipping info. But actually, I believe that backer is going to come to the premiere in August, and I think he's probably going to pick up all of his stuff at that time. So he's a good guy. But the other stuff, there's other stuff in your basement that's not all his. I know that, including John's apron. So we got to send you John's, and actually Scotty personalized it to you, John.
Yeah,
I
he
know
showed.
he did do a personalized signature. So you can send Christine your shipping address and she'll ship it to you.
Okay.
There you go. Too heavy to move. Yeah, I can imagine that chainsaw too heavy to move. I'll seen. I have yet to see my scene. Yeah, I should show it to you. I should. Well, I should get Charlie to send you like the full quality version. Charlie has to send me all the scenes in 720 pixels because it's the smallest size that he can send, so it actually fits on my lame ass computer. So, and even still, the whole movie in 720 was, I think, like 6 or 7 gigs. So, yeah. John from Doomsday, I think the new TCM was a fun slasher, terrible TCM movie. I can see it. I can see that. It was
I have
definitely fun, but yeah.
Leatherface and Mini Me.
Trey Song for a t-shirt.
I don't think I ever showed you these guys, did I, Steve?
I don't know if you have. Pretty cool though. Anyways, guys, we're here to talk about the last broadcast. The last broadcast. I just saw this today. I wanted to see it today, so it was fresh in my head. And some people have told me that this movie was basically the movie that inspired the Blair Witch Project, which apparently it wasn't. Apparently, it really wasn't, because the Blair Witch Project, going online, it said that the Blair Witch Project had already started production something like 5 months before this movie was released. So even though this movie predates the Blair Witch Project, there's no way I could say that this movie inspired it.
No. When you go back and you really look at everything, the Blair Witch Project was already in the works. They were already writing a script for it before the last broadcast was even thought of. So the Blair Witch Project predates, in terms of script, almost a year.
That makes sense. And the Blair Witch Project went into production still, like I said, 5 months or something like that before it was released. So,
and these are two entirely different movies when you look at them. They're nowhere even close.
Very, very much. I mean, the last broadcast is very much more documentary. Not so much found footage. It's more of a documentary that has some found footage in it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's very much.
What's that? Sorry?
I was going to say it's just a true crime documentary where they're trying to prove what happened to the 3 filmmakers, or the 3 public access TV hosts in the woods in 1995. And you're seeing it all through the eyes of the filmmaker, which had his name pulled up. What was it? David Beard. Yep, David Beard.
That was the name?
Yep. Well, his name's David Beard, but in the movie he was known as David Lee.
Yes, that's right. They changed the name slightly.
Yeah.
Of pretty much all. I noticed that in the credits. Let me type that up just to make sure. But yeah, that sounds right. David Lee.
And he was kind of like an investigative reporter / documentary filmmaker. And he was trying to look back at this case that essentially had already went to trial, and they felt that they had already come to a reasonable conclusion with and moved on. but he was trying to prove that the police and everybody got it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting premise. I will say this: the acting was on par with the Blair Witch Project, as far as believability in like the people being interviewed, and everybody in the film seemed authentic, which is something I felt kind of lacked a little bit when I watched. Uh, it was another one of my first. I already forgot the name of it. What was that one I watched? The Poughkeepsie tapes.
Yeah.
A lot of those, the people being interviewed and stuff for the camera in the Poughkeepsie tapes weren't really that believable. There was they're almost there, but wasn't quite what you'd want. I didn't quite believe it. Didn't quite believe it, if that makes sense. Whereas these people being interviewed felt very genuine, and I believe that the filmmakers did a good job making sure that they were genuine, because they were all genuine people. Apparently, they're all not. None of them were actually actors, so it was a matter of how they directed them, I guess, and it just made it feel authentic that way. When you watch this, you actually do believe you're watching some sort of a crime documentary.
I think that's the one thing that I got from this that kind of does go hand in hand with Blair Witch Project, like you said, is it doesn't feel like any of the script was really written out when in terms of the people like average Joe on the street that they interview. I think they just told them like, here's the situation, ad lib it. There was just a lot of ad libbing, which is something that was basically the entire Blair Witch Project film for the most
Exactly,
part.
yeah, and it worked. It was definitely very, very effective with the way the performances come off, because you want that authenticity in those. If you're truly gonna believe it, if you're truly gonna market these movies as if that they were that this was a true story, that this is everything you're seeing is real, make sure it actually looks real. It has to look real. And I kind of that's why when I watch the Poughkeepsie tapes, I kind of wish that there were more moments in it that I found believable. I wish there was. Hey, there's our buddy Christian Spencer. How you doing, Chris? Christian? Chris or
I'm
Christian,
glad.
whatever you want to be called.
Man, my
Thank you for
cat just
tuning in.
scared the crap out of me. My cat just come over and nudged my hand and scared me. I was like, "Oh, what is that?" I
Don't you
didn't know
love
she
that,
was.
eh?
I didn't know she was in the bedroom with me because she was in the living room.
It's funny actually. You're having that right now, but before I even went on, and it's probably why I had my Tylenol, my children's Tylenol thing in front of the camera. Didn't even realize it. There was a fly in here, and I was tearing the damn place apart trying to kill this damn fly, and had to basically reset up everything, and my blinds fell off the window, and it was a disaster. But I killed the fly. That thing's dead now. It's gone. Totally has nothing to do with this, but whatever, right?
Too bad you didn't film that. We'll put a death metal soundtrack to it and just go.
That'd be fun. Hey, there's our buddy Mario from Degrees Centigrade. How you doing, Mario? Hope you're having a lovely, lovely evening tonight.
Howdy doody.
Okay, so let's let's get into this movie a little bit more. I will say I was a little thrown off by the ending. I think it's not that I have a problem with the ending. And if there's going to be spoiler alert, this is the spoiler alert, if there ever was one. So if you don't know how this movie ends, you're going to want to shut this off right now and watch it before you find out. So the next 5 minutes or so is going to be a little bit spoilery.
It's
Little bit.
free on YouTube. So
It's free on you. Yeah, the movie is free to watch on YouTube. And I think right after, if you keep watching, there's a documentary from the filmmakers themselves that made this movie and how they got it into festivals and blah, blah, blah. It was pretty cool. But the ending, when the filmmaker turns out to be the killer all along, I like it. but I was a little bit confused by it because I didn't. It was a good twist. And maybe I need to rewatch it again. Again, it might be one of those things that on multiple viewings you pick stuff up because I wasn't seeing any clues that this guy could be the killer throughout the film. Again, there could be subtle clues that I missed, but what is this guy's motive? What was this filmmaker's motive to be the killer, to do this?
Well, you get to that one part where you have what's called a IRC, and those that are young and don't realize what that is, it's a internet relay chat room. Doesn't exist anymore. But it was a, what was it, like early form, like text to speech type thing, and somebody comes over and it goes, "Why don't you do a show on the Pine Barrens and the Jersey Devil?" And they were like, "Ooh, let's do it," because our public access television series is failing. And it was just two aspiring filmmakers or television. They wanted to make a television show, and one had what was it, Locus, or no, Steven had all these delusions of grandeur and all that. Like he thought he was going to be a big star. Locus was more grounded, like, it's just crappy, public access television, never really goes anywhere. So you had two conflicting interests there. But they go out to the Pine Barrens and they enlist the services of this. Is it too much to say he was kind of a con man? Because he was he was an aspiring actor and a magician and all that, and he was telling them he was psychic and all this other crap. And
yeah, we're talking Jim here at this point, right?
Yeah, Jim Seward. And he just came off as really odd and strange. And they go out to the Pine Barrens, and I'll let Steve finish the rest.
Well, I mean, they think that Jim did it, but he didn't, and
Yeah.
you get that. So I mean, I'm just looking for motive for from the actual killer, from the filmmaker who did it, David, right?
Unless he was just a serial killer that had some
I
kind
guess
of.
it just. I think that's I'm hoping that I'm going to watch this movie on multiple viewings and pick something up from this guy that makes me think there's a reason why he would have done this. That gives me some sort of insight as to his mind, because we got no real insight. I like having motives. I need it's otherwise it's just kind of lazy writing. And I would it was a good twist. Don't get me wrong, it's a good twist. It's an even better twist if there are subtle things that point to him throughout the film as the killer. And I'm hoping that's what I'm going to find on rewatch. I hope that that's what I'm going to find, because it just seemed like it was a twist for the sake of a twist. You didn't see it coming. I definitely didn't see it coming. I will say that. And I like that. I like that I didn't see it coming. It wasn't one of those twists that was so obvious, like Leatherface 2017. I saw that coming a mile away, and it was still terrible no matter what. This one I didn't see coming. And
No, but
hoping...
I was confused with, how did David even know that they were going to be in those woods on that particular day at that particular time?
It is a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible because, again, IRC, right? It could have been him all along, but again, I just need to I need to get some insight. There's got to be something in the film, Easter eggs. Give me some Easter eggs. I don't know. Let's see if anybody knows in the chat if there is anything earlier in the film that I should look at as possible Easter eggs or some way to suspect him. So
because Lord knows I missed it.
I got bit by a horsefly the other day. Hurt like heck. Actually, those do hurt. I have been bit by a horsefly. I hate those damn things. I'm kind of glad we don't really get them where I live right now. I need to rewatch it again. Been several years since I've seen it. Yeah, I mean, it's good. Hey, don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing the movie, but if there's one aspect that I didn't like, it was that. Unless of course I rewatch it and I start picking stuff up. If I start picking up little hints, because I don't think you should, because you still want to have that twist ultimately. But if we know something about the film, if we learn stuff, little things about the filmmaker himself, I'm almost thinking I want to watch just that very beginning monologue that he had, and feel like maybe I missed something in there that's going to be a clue, you know.
And
But
maybe
on
they
first
intentionally,
watch, what's
maybe
that?
they intentionally did it this way.
They very well could have. I just, me as a writer, I would have wanted to throw something in there that's going to make people say, "Oh, I get why he did it now." You know, something is because I kind of left this movie thinking like, why the hell did this guy do all this? What was his what was the purpose of it? What was,
Yeah, even
you
serial
know?
killers have motives.
There's still
That's why they're
some
serial
kind of a
killers.
motive, right? There's something there. There's some sort of thing guiding serial killers to do these things. So, um, I don't know. I don't know if there's that's it. It's not. Maybe it sounds like I'm knocking on it harder than I really am. Because again, I really when I, when I talk about stuff I dislike, I tend to be a little bit passionate. Probably it's the same as when I talk about stuff I do like too. When I see something I really love, it's like, whoa, look how awesome this is. I start nerding out. That damn space battle in Return of the Jedi. Holy frick, all those spaceships coming up, but it's
Now,
the same thing when there's something when there's something kind of throws you off. And I don't know, it's I'm hoping I do watch it again because I want to watch it again. Definitely, this is a movie I definitely want to watch it again. As far as all the movies I've seen as first time watches doing this show, this is the one I like the most. And oddly enough, this was the one made for the least amount of money by far.
mhm.
Let's talk about that. Before I sound like I'm crapping on the movie totally, I'm not. This was a movie made not for $1 million, not for $100,000, not for $10,000, not even for $1,000. This movie was made on a budget of $900.
And made $4 million internationally. So, cha-ching.
So who won? And sometimes you would say a movie was made for $900, but marketing the movie must have cost a fortune, which it could have, but it didn't because they really didn't compromise their vision. They wanted it all digital. They were apparently the filmmakers were talking about, to get it shown in theaters and stuff like that, and they're all saying, "Oh, it's gonna cost at least $40,000 to convert the digital to the film format that has to be shown on screens." And I can't remember the name of the company, but they encountered a company that was able to transfer all digital formats to the big screen. Of course, nowadays it's peanuts, right? So now that's nothing to do. But they were like the first. That was the first film that ever did that. It was the first movie that ever did that. At the
Yeah,
same time, at the same time, obviously these guys broke some rules because making a film for $900 does not come without breaking some rules, labor laws, stuff like that. Yes, it is drains. Wow, that's impressive. It is impressive. It's still impressive. However, I'm not sure how if I'm not sure they would get away with it today. This was the
no,
90s, so things were a
we
little
didn't
bit flexible, but
we didn't have the internet quite like we do now, so you could get away with a lot of sketchy stuff back then that you can't anymore.
yeah,
Internet chat rooms and everything today, you'd be called out in an instant.
yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, at the same time, you can't take anything away. There's definitely rules broken on this movie for sure. There's no way they got insurance. I mean, insurance alone probably would have cost them their whole budget. There's no way they were paying any of the people. Uh, did they feed them at all? Geez, I sure hope so. At least something. At
It's
least
like,
something. I mean, man,
hey guys, bring a
$900.
bag lunch. We need you to
Yeah.
brown bag it to sit.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's impressive, but at the same time,
It
they
was a
must have
passion
broken so many
project.
rules. It was a passion project, and I think everybody that was involved must have been passionate about it, because otherwise, a lot of people would have walked off set. "Hey, no food? I'm out of here. No pay? I'm out of here." Because $900 does not go very far. I don't know what they used that $900 for. I hope for food. I hope it was at least for some food, and maybe they made a deal with a catering company for sponsorship. Hey, I mean, that's entirely possible. That's stuff that you can possibly do. It's not like easy. It's not like you're going to call the first catering company and, no problem. We've got you covered. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to solicit, especially for unknown filmmakers that, have never done anything before. It's pretty unlikely. I mean, it's possible they got some sort of deal. I don't know. I don't know the guys, so I don't know
Well,
what connections they had where they were
I've
from.
always I've always read that your shoot is always determined on how good your catering is going to be.
Very
That
true.
affects your morale big time.
It certainly does. However, look at the product. Again, look at the acting. The acting is really good across the board. Across the board. Every performance is believable. A lot of them weren't even actors. So they did something right. So maybe they did get some sort of deal on catering or sponsorship. I don't know. I don't know that much, but I just know that $900 does not go a long ways, and they said they shot it in 28 days. 28 days. I think it was 26 or 28, something like that. So don't quote me on that for sure, but it was some. I watched the documentary after they talked about it. They shot it over like 28 days. I thought, whoa, $900 lasted you 28 days. How is that possible? It really shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. But they pulled it off, I guess, and again, they must have broken some rules, but they probably also had some great connections as well, because it shouldn't have been shot for that cheap. It should not have been, but they did everything as cheaply as they could, and it is a lesson to anybody trying to make something for nothing that you can do it. Did they eat? I know that's what I just Christine said. Did they eat? Geez, I sure hope so.
I mean,
Hopefully
it's also easier today to make a movie for near nothing than what it was in '95.
it is, but it's harder to get away with some of those laws though too.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you do. There's still a lot of filmmakers out there that don't have insurance when they film. It's kind of sad, but it happens, and I doubt those guys had insurance. But I'm not one of those guys. I refuse to film without insurance because you just never know. You just never ever know, and you want your ass to be covered and not get into anything that's going to cost you lots of money. You got to have insurance. You got to have insurance. So, and it's not cheap.
Might
My
explain
insurance
why
alone for the Sawyer massacre cost more than $900. Mine's inflation, but anyways, what were you going to say, John?
I was gonna say, I might explain why there was really no action scenes in this movie.
That's true. Other than the one, there's the
Yeah.
end when when but apparently they really choreographed that whole thing. They really choreographed it, and they did a good job. And it was the
Oh, they did
one.
a good job just with that scene in general because
Yeah.
spoilers, they have this film restoration person who used to take film back in the day for police departments and try to restore it so they could find out different things. Basically, she was trying to find out the face of the killer, which she did, which we know was the filmmaker himself. It was violent and primal, just showing her suffocate with him with the plastic over her face like that, I was like, wow, that is a
Very
powerful
believable.
scene. That was a powerful scene.
They
And
shot that very well.
And it wasn't like your typical movie where they just, put the plastic over their face for what, like 10 seconds and they're dead. It's not how it really works in real life. You got to really bear down on somebody. You got to be there for a while. You got to really dedicate yourself to smothering that person. And even in the movie, he didn't fully kill her. He had to go back and re-smother her again while he was filming.
Exactly.
He heard her moving because you see him look down and he's like, ah, shit. And then goes back and has to do it a second time.
Well done, eh? They did it was authentic. At the end of the day, it had a very authentic look. Drayton Sawyer. Yeah, if something goes wrong, could be a lawsuit. Yeah, I don't want that.
Ain't trying to catch no case.
Yes. Yes, all you filmmakers out there, get insurance. I know a lot of you aren't. I know that there's tons that aren't. I'm an advocate for it. Get the insurance, people.
Hey guys,
I know that it's expensive and you're trying to save money. You don't have a lot of money to make movies, but unless it's just you, if it's just you and you got no crew, get insurance.
I run a podcast production company and I have insurance.
There you go.
So
it makes sense. Get the insurance. I'll stop talking about that now, though. That's enough. But you got to have it. I'm sorry if I come down on, but I've heard of a few people out there, and I don't want to mention any names, but let's just say that there was somebody that was on my show a while ago that I do not commend this person anymore, and I do not support this person anymore. But I know for a fact that he was not planning on getting any insurance for his movie. I practically had to beg the guy to get insurance. And I don't think he did. I still don't think he actually did. Yeah. He said he did. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but I don't think he did.
Yeah, well.
And I'm not going to say what movie that is. I'm not going to name names. Let's just say it was somebody that was on my show a little while ago. A little while ago. He was on MERLO'S movie Massacre. Oh, probably a year now. Probably a year ago now. And I regret having him on. Because he just had no idea.
Everybody thinks making a movie's easy. I've never made one, and I know it's not easy.
It's not easy.
I've watched from afar the stress and pain that you've had to go through with the whole thing.
It's not easy. I mean, I've gone through. I've done some that weren't so hard. I've done some stuff, some filming that is like, oh, that was easy. Why can't it always be that easy? Well, it depends on the situation. Depends on what you're shooting. Depends on who you're working with. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know. It's, you can never go into it thinking it's going to be easy. That's for sure. Always have a contingency amount of money just in your budget that's going to allow for any mistakes or unexpected expenses, because they show up every time. They show up. Do it. Because I mean, if I didn't have that for the Sawyer Massacre, I would have been way over budget. Believe me, because there's a lot of expenses showing up that I didn't know that was going to happen. It's
you need 3 ingredients: time, money, and people, and then that sprinkling of insurance.
Exactly. Anywho, back to this now. Back to this. So I was on your show a few weeks back with Jamie Apple, Jason Pitts,
and
who else was on that?
Rob Mahoney.
Rob Mahoney, that's right. Talking about the Blair Witch Project. Now, Jason Pitts was pretty adamant that this movie was better than the Blair Witch Project. I think it's subjective. Personally, after watching this movie, I still think the Blair Witch. I prefer watching the Blair Witch Project, mostly because I found it scarier than this. At the end of the day, the Blair Witch Project is scarier. You felt the intensity of the characters throughout the film. You didn't really have that in this movie, right? You had those, they got killed up in the woods, and you don't know how they did it, but you never had those moments of intense of like things are getting worse and worse and worse, because every time you see footage of them, they're just, they seem fairly normal for the most part, other than them calling Jim a psycho and him kind of losing it a little bit. That was the only kind of thing, but it's nowhere near at the level of intensity that you saw from the characters in the Blair Witch Project. So for me personally, the Blair Witch Project is a better film. Again, I think it's a personal preference though, and yeah, I mean, this is a really good. This is a film that I think could definitely grow on me, especially if the ending makes more sense to me if I watch it more. It is one of those things where I'm like, if I can find some little Easter eggs throughout the movie, I'm gonna like this movie more. It definitely is, because the whole movie had me on, really intrigued on what really happened to these guys, and I think that aspect of it was really well done, because you don't. That's it. Even though it was my gripe as far as the Blair Witch Project goes, with the intensity of the characters throughout that film and things getting worse and worse for them, and you don't have that in this film. At the same time, it's kind of effective because you kind of wonder what the fuck happened to these guys. How could how did it get so bad all of a sudden? And so you keep watching to figure that out. And so I think that kind of worked in its favor in that regard.
I'm with you. In terms of a better movie, Blair Witch Project hands down is better to me. This movie, it's great. I can't say anything bad about it. I mean, other than what we both agree on, they could have fleshed out some things here and there a little bit better. Whether this was an intentional thing or what, I still think it might have been a bad call. But the whole thing with Blair Witch Project, to me, it was predicated on paranormal. A witch's ghost roaming the woods, chasing these kids. We never see it. The kids see it. And then they get ganked at the end. This was an investigation of a urban legend, paranormal event, Jersey Devil. And I don't know. I felt like maybe it was a missed opportunity that they could have played on that a little bit, saying, well, maybe it was the Jersey Devil that killed those guys in the woods, but they would bring it up, and then all of a sudden they would be like, no, that's just bullshit. There's no Jersey Devil in the Pine Barrens. And I felt like you could have added to the plot a little bit if you just played with that element a little bit more. Because there are people in Jersey that believe that thing is in fact real, and you cannot tell them different.
Oh, I believe it. I don't know nothing about don't know anything about the Jersey Devil myself. I've heard of it, but it's definitely not something I've really looked into. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, did they play on it at all? Sure, they did. There was definitely a moment in the film that you thought maybe this will turn out to be the Jersey Devil after all. There was a little bit of those moments, but they went the way they went, and I'm okay with that. But
and the acting was so much stronger in Blair Witch. I'm sorry, but it was.
You think so? I don't know. I mean, it was. I mean, it was because of the intensity of the characters. I think to give off that kind of intensity, the emotions like they did, is definitely harder to do than what they did in this movie. But I can't discredit the acting in any way in this movie. I mean, it was very, very believable. Everything that you see in this movie, and they hey, this was marketed as a true story right off the bat. They said none of these people are actors, and it was kind of true because none of them actually were actors. They just made them really feel authentic somehow. That that it worked. I don't know. I don't know how they did. They talked about how they did it in the documentary, but I think it was a bit of a filmmaking trick. It's like they almost tricked them a little bit to make them think it's real. But yeah, you are right. At the end of the day, it takes something in you to bring that kind of raw emotion. I mean, you knew that the actors in the Blair Witch Project actually had to be actors. There was no way that they were just non-actors, and the filmmakers were able to somehow get that out of them. There was no way. It was it was it was too much. There's no way non-actors could do that. So,
Yeah, they were all 3 film students, I think, that were,
yeah.
chosen from college to go and do this film, but I'm not saying that the acting in the last broadcast is bad. I'm not. It was terrific because yes, it gives that realism. Because if you just walk up to any old average person on the street and put a microphone in their face, not everybody's accustomed to that, and they're going to trip over their own feet trying to get out what they're trying to say, and that's the
Yeah.
authenticity of the whole thing. Where I was going, I think I should have explained it better, is I appreciated the Blair Witches for that raw emotion that they got. And it was believable emotion because this was not scripted. What you felt from Heather, Mike, and Josh was in fact real, because those directors, when we're talking about breaking rules, they broke rules with those
They
3
broke
kids in the
rules.
woods. They were starving them intentionally to bring up the anxiety. They were tormenting them. I mean, there was just so
Yeah.
many things that they were putting them through.
It would never happen today, and that's probably why the found footage movies you see today just aren't as good. I hate to say it, but you don't get that same acting quality from today's found footage movies that you did from Blair Witch Project. You don't get that authenticity. I'd never see a found footage film today and think it's real. Not like the Blair Witch Project. I still haven't seen Paranormal Activity though, and everybody says I should see that for the it's saying it's right up there with Blair Witch. So I don't know. And I guess I don't know how recent is Paranormal Activity? The first one, I guess.
Paranormal Activity came out in 2007. I was deployed to Iraq because I remember getting a pirated copy of it
Hmm.
because they sell pirated movies in Iraq. So that's how I saw it the first time.
Oh, 07. It's hard to say whether things were still lenient at that time. It's definitely a time period of like things were starting to crack down a little bit more. I know that, but
Hell, you didn't even have smartphones at that time. Facebook was still in its infancy. MySpace
still
was
smartphones were just kind of coming out, I think, because I remember. Yeah, I'm trying to remember 2007. I
the
believe
BlackBerry was like the world's first smartphone, I think.
it
And
was. I'm pretty sure the BlackBerry was at least out, and maybe they were starting on iPhones as well. I don't know. I didn't get my iPhone till 2012,
damn, right around the
and I
same
was
time
one
I
of the.
did.
I was told I was one of the last people to get a smartphone.
I rocked the
My
flip phone until around that time,
I
so hey,
yeah,
don't feel
no,
bad.
my iPhone was the first cell phone I ever had in 2012. I never had a cell phone before that. No
No,
cell phone.
we had to have them in the Army once.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we
makes
had to.
sense. It makes sense. But yeah, overall, if I can kind of see what Jason's saying, and I'm not. I can see why he would like this movie better than the Blair Witch. And he didn't specifically say that. He said that it was a better film, uh, overall a better film than Blair Witch Project. And I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a bit subjective. I think there's certain elements of the last broadcast that were um could be looked at as better than the Blair Witch Project, but overall, I mean, less shaky cam. I mean, if you don't like shaky cam, yeah, sure, you'll like the last broadcast more than you like the Blair Witch Project. However, camera quality, as far as camera quality, the quality that of picture you see, I think the Blair Witch Project has a leg up in that regards. the definition that you see in I mean, the last broadcast almost took me back to the 80s a little bit in its camera quality. So, I
Well, it
mean,
was
I guess
shot
those were
on handheld camcorders. That's how they
yeah,
shot the movie, I think.
it I'm okay with it though, but it would never pass today. I don't think so. I don't think you could make a movie with that kind of quality, and I don't know,
The strongest
unless
character
it's done. What's that?
I was gonna say the strongest character for me in the entire film, though, was what became the main antagonist at the end of the David Lee character, because he gave me, well, as I was watching him and the way he would narrate things, I was like, this dude is catching those Robert Stack vibes from Unsolved Mystery.
Unsolved Mysteries. Yeah. Good old Bob Stack, huh?
Yep.
Whatever happened to him? Well, he's dead now. That's
Yeah.
what happened. He ain't around. But anyways, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Mystery
He was
solved.
good. I just want a motive. I just want to know what his motive was. I just want to understand a little bit more. I'm definitely going to watch it again and see, because I'll appreciate it more if there's something that's going to make me understand his motives a little bit better. But I mean, I like the story of I like how the idea of this this TV show, and it was doing okay, and then it's kind of slumping, and I don't know, like it was a good premise. It made for a very good premise, and I totally dug the premise. I thought that was a little different than anything I've seen before. Yeah, I don't not much as far as a favorite character goes. Gee, that's tough. But I can see what you're saying with the filmmaker guy, David. Jim was pretty good though too. Steve was pretty good as a character.
Locust did a good job.
Locust, yeah. They're all pretty good. They're all
I
they're all
thought,
believable people, and you kind of believe the relationships that they have with each other, like the relationship between Locust and Steve. They were the team, but Steve was kind of the leader, and I like that. I like that dynamic. I think they did a very good job with the dynamics of the characters.
yeah, and Michelle in there, it was very believable with her because I mean, coming off as a untrained actress and playing the role of a what would you call it, film restoration? She seemed to know a lot about that job without actually knowing a lot about that job, I guess, if that makes sense. So I was very impressed with her and her research for that role.
Yeah, I agree. They did great. So again, can't knock the acting. I just can't knock the acting. Just I was expecting to see something scarier. If there was any other letdowns, I was expecting to see something a little scarier. Uh, just nitpicking now. Nitpicking. I don't know. What did you guys all think of the last broadcast? And what should I watch next week? Well, actually, speaking of next week, I'm on a bunch of other different podcasts next week, so I won't be doing anything next week. But the following week, I'm going to be switching to Tuesdays and Thursdays. I talked to you guys on the last show of Merle. You guys said basically said Tuesdays and Thursdays are better. I think that's what I'm going to do. So, so my next show of Merlot's Movie Massacre will be on Tuesday, whatever date that is. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but not this coming Tuesday, the one after that. And then,
Hold on, I got you, boss.
You got me. You figure you know what I'm talking about.
So
Tuesday,
you said Thursday, the week after next,
yeah,
the 13th and the 17th, or 13th and 16th, week after next.
13th and 16th. That doesn't make sense.
Well, next week, Tuesday, I'm sorry, it's 14th and 16th.
There we go. That makes sense. 13th and 16th doesn't make sense.
I got my wrong glasses on, guys. Forgive me.
Okay. That's okay. And but yeah, just put your in the comments. Put what film I should watch next. John, do you have any suggestions on what film I should watch next for this show?
Let me think. Have you ever seen Pieces?
A while ago.
Okay.
So that wouldn't count as a first time watch. I
Um,
used to love the tagline though. What was the tagline? You don't have to go to Texas for a chainsaw massacre.
those chainsaw kills were so bad in that movie, but it was so bad it was good. How about
Yeah,
Proud?
it's one of those.
Have you ever
One of
seen
those
Proud?
so bad it's good. What does Chris here say? Just want to get in before and 24/7 after premiere. Pool party 2 to 3 days. And John's email. Nice to see you again, Steve. See you all soon. Oh, thanks, Chris. Awesome. Thank you so much.
And I'll get
Pool
your
party at
email.
Chris's place.
I'll get your email from Steve and I'll shoot you one, Christine.
There you go. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Yeah. What about how about you, John? You gonna come down to Texas for the premiere?
I am saving my vacation to hopefully do so.
That'd be
Um,
awesome.
I don't, I will really, I don't get to take vacation until August. So everybody else put in before me. This will be my first vacation that I have taken at my regular job in 6 years. I normally just sell my vacation time and take the money. So
Oh. I can understand that. It's nice to have money, but you know, it's also nice to take a vacation too.
well, I'm being forced
And
to. My boss is like, "You're taking a vacation this year."
well, you know, you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. Whatever you do.
I'm trying to get down there to see your all's movie.
Okay, so Drayton Sawyer here is saying Madman is a good one. Madman, I
Ooh.
don't think I've seen that one.
No, I haven't either. It doesn't even ring a bell.
Let me just Google it and just see.
Well, you didn't know
Come up
about
with other suggestions though too, just in case. 1981, Madman.
Night of the Creeps. You didn't know about that one the other day either.
Yeah. Madman. Yeah, I don't think I've seen this one. Do not believe I have seen this one. Okay.
I might have to watch that one myself. I haven't never heard of it.
Okay. That's interesting. That's any other suggestions before we wrap this up?
Like I said, Night of the Creeps.
Night of the Creeps is another one. Yeah, I haven't seen that as well. So yeah, if you have any other recommendations, let me know. I'm open. I'd like to get a few recommendations just so I have options in case Madman or Night of the Creeps aren't available for me to watch because I only have limited ways to watch movies. And that's Netflix, YouTube, Amazon, and I think some of the we here in Canada, we don't get all the same options that you guys do in the States too. As far as I think both Netflix and Amazon. Definitely Amazon, we don't get quite as many options. I have Tubi as well. I'm not a big fan of Tubi because you have to watch all those damn ads, but you know.
I've been on Disney Plus lately watching the Obi-Wan series.
We're gonna have to. I know I gotta watch it. I have to renew Disney Plus. I gotta renew Disney Plus, not just for the Obi-Wan series, but for the Mandalorian as well. I don't give a shit about Boba Fett, so
I'll shoot you my email and my password, and you can watch it.
You don't have to do that.
Ain't no biggie.
You don't have to do that. We're gonna get it eventually, anyways. Eventually, they're gonna put a new season of Wicked Tuna on there as well, and I love my Wicked Tuna. Yes, I watched. Not last. Well, yeah, I know. I'm one of those guys that likes a fishing show.
I love watching your.
Told myself, what's that?
I love watching Les Stroud, one of your fellow Canadians. I watch Survivor Man all the time. I've got the entire all the seasons and everything.
Yeah, but I always told myself I'd never be a fishing show kind of guy, and then I start watching Wicked Tuna, and I'm addicted.
I used to watch Deadliest Catch, so
Yes, I never got into that one. I tried watching a few times and I thought, but nope. Wicked Tuna is my show.
Wicked
Wicked
Tuna's where
Tuna.
it's at.
Yeah. Yeah. You're from North Carolina, so you should know some of those guys.
Mhm.
Well, the main show they do in Massachusetts, but they have two Wicked Tuna shows. They have the Southern show in North Carolina and their main show, which is in Gloucester, Massachusetts.
Yeah, where I
And yeah.
grew up in North Carolina, we were a commercial fishing area, but we were more shrimp and
Oh,
uh,
okay.
and crab
Yeah.
fishing. Your
I
tuna fishing was more
yeah,
northern part up northern part of the state on the East Coast.
probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah, that would make sense. I just know every time I watch that it's like super dangerous for them to get out of the harbor because there's this big giant bridge that's narrow to get through, and then there's this giant sandbar they have to get over. So every time you watch the North Carolina Wicked Tuna, you see all the hell they go through, especially if there's bad weather. They're trying to get through this little bridge, and then there's this damn sandbar. They have to make sure they navigate through this sandbar just right, otherwise they're going to bottom out.
Well, hell,
It's yeah.
my hometown, we used to have a drawbridge, and we had these big commercial shrimp boats, and you could imagine these are big, tall outriggers on this thing, and it seemed like every week, that drawbridge would open to let the fleet out, and one of those damn outriggers would hit that bridge and knock it off of its gear alignment or whatever, and then they would get hung up, and then you'd be sitting in backed up traffic for like 3 hours waiting for the guys to come in and fix the bridge. So they tore that bridge down, and now we got a high rise. So no more stuck bridges anymore. Old Burning, that is a good one.
Yeah, I've seen that though. It's got a young George Costanza in it.
Hotel
Seinfeld loving
Hell.
brother.
Hotel
What's that?
Hell's a good one. Hotel Hell.
Oh, Motel Hell's up there. I didn't see anybody recommend.
No,
Well,
I
I've seen
said
it.
I was just making that suggestion.
Well, seen it. I've seen it too many times. Those are classics. I think it's mostly modern ones I haven't seen. It's like it's a lot of modern. I mean, there are some classics I haven't seen as well, but you're gonna more so find um, modern films that I haven't seen probably than classics.
I
Most
try to
likely.
watch modern, and I just can't do it half the
I
time.
don't know. There's something wrong. I don't know. Like, did you see me when I did the Strangers Pray at Night episode? Did you watch that one?
Yeah, I own all those movies on Blu-ray. I
I
watched them
was,
once, and now they're just
ugh,
gathering dust.
I I just hated that movie so much. I hated that movie. So I don't know. It was a suggest, and a lot of people love it. A lot of people love it. I'm not going to tell you people that love The Strangers Pray at Night to not love it. It really wasn't for me, though. It really wasn't for me. And so many people said it's such an homage to 80s slasher movies. I have a hard time
I
recognizing that. I
I
don't know.
thought it
Maybe
was
I need to see more 80s slasher movies, I guess, but I didn't.
I thought it was a very weak parody of Last House on the Left. To be truthfully honest, I
I
mean,
need to see that again. But no, it's trying to. I don't know. I just I don't know. I just had such a huge problem with the characters and the decisions they made. So at the end of the day, I mean, bad decisions happen in horror movies, sure, but to this level, you know, I can understand that one or two bad decisions here. That okay, that wasn't the brightest thing, but you could see why they did it. You can still see why they made that bad decision. Whereas this, you don't see why they make the bad decisions that they make, and to the point where it had me shouting at the screen. So I don't know. I just don't think they make modern films for guys like me. I sound old and cynical, I'm sure, but I don't ever want to watch another movie like that and be shouting at the screen because of how stupid the characters are. you know.
I think there's this misconception with a lot of, and I'm not trying to sell any of the new filmmakers short. Everybody, you're entitled to your art, and you're entitled in the way you want to express yourself. But I feel like they go in treating horror with a little bit of disrespect, because it's almost like they look at it like, oh, we'll just throw some blood around and make a scary monster, and that's it. That's all we need. No, it's not. It's not that simple. Horror might be one of the toughest genres to actually pull off when you really think about it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree to really pull off. I think too many times filmmakers take the easy way out, and that's just throw more blood at the screen, and you've got your horror film.
I
You
mean, it's
gotta write
definitely,
good stories, so people. I
yeah,
look. I like a good horror comedy as much as the next person too, but you cannot fix you cannot fix a movie by throwing more blood at it. If you got a weak story, the best acting in the world isn't going to save it, and the just throwing blood at the screen isn't going to save it either. You got to have characters doing believable things at the end of the day. So I don't know. It's but so many people defend. I posted in a Facebook group about that movie, and all the people that came to defend that movie and basically tell me I'm wrong, and say it's just such a great 80s homage. I'm like, what really made that an 80s homage? Was it all the 80s music they played in there? Because that doesn't do it for me, folks. You're not going to sell me on 80s homage, but with all this 80s music in there. You play Total Eclipse of the Heart, followed by Making Love Out of Nothing at All, Air Supply, the two Jim Steinman songs that were supposed to be written for Meatloaf, and Meatloaf didn't do them because he had health problems or whatever it was. So, you put those, classic songs, whatever, but music isn't going to sell me on 80s vibe.
yeah.
It can help. It can help a little bit, but I don't know. It's I just didn't see the 80s homage like a lot of people see.
Sound like to me you got the same kind of hate that I got when I came out and said I didn't like Halloween Kills, and I got roasted. People was like, "How dare you come before the
It's
altar of John Carpenter and take a shit on it?" I'm like, I wasn't pooping on nobody's altar. I was just expressing the fact that I didn't like it. Can I not have a personal opinion?
You definitely can. It's not my least favorite in the franchise. I didn't really care for it that much either. I thought there were some missed opportunities, that's for sure.
I
But
thought James Jude Courtney knocked it out of the park. Ain't
yeah,
no,
I kind of feel like he's being wasted in these movies. I kind of feel like you got the right guy to play the character, and you're putting him in these movies. Because I mean, he makes the movie that much better. Having the right person play the shape makes the movie that much better.
and the
Um,
fact that he nails every one of Nick Castle's little quirks is what gets
yeah,
me.
yeah, it's definitely not easy to do, and somehow he's pulled it off. So, I mean, maybe he'll have an opportunity to be in a good Halloween movie someday. Maybe Halloween Ends will be really, really good. Maybe it'll be the Halloween movie I've been wanting. I'm not too optimistic though. I wasn't too fond on the first one they did, the 2018 one. Not too fond on Halloween Kills either. So I mean, again, they're not the worst in the franchise to me, but I mean, I bet they could possibly contend the worst if it wasn't for James Jude Courtney pulling off the best Michael Myers since Nick Castle. That's just the way I see it. I don't know. Uh, I don't know. But, you'll get hate for that. Whatever. If people wanna hate on me for not liking a movie, that's fine. That's fine. It's a little immature, but that's fine. But, anyways, guys, I mean,
I got something to
ultimately
plug if I can.
Yeah, sure, man. Before we wrap her up, we do have to get wrapped up here pretty quick, but go ahead and plug away, sir.
So next Saturday, if anybody's interested, if you've never seen The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, I've done some research. There's no copyright on that film because it's 100 and something years old. The original, anybody that had anything to do with that film is dead and gone. So nobody's laying claim to the copyright. So I am going to be doing a watch party, and I am going to stream The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, the entire film from beginning to end. So come, if you've never seen it, and come watch it. It's a beautiful film. Very, if you're a fan of German expressionist or silent film, so going to forewarn you, it's a silent film. So I know there's not a lot of fans for that, but just go into it with an open mind. It really was the movie that kind of laid the groundwork for this thing that we love called horror movies.
There you go. Awesome. Saturday
night, which will be around 7:00 your time.
Oh, there you go. So that would be what, the 10th or 11th?
Yeah, yep, the 11th.
11th. There you go. Saturday, June 11th. Join our good buddy John from Behind the Fiends. He's gonna.
I'm gonna stream it on Facebook. So
cool.
It'll be up on Facebook.
Hopefully, I can tune in. I'm sure I can, at least for a little bit. I'd like to catch the whole thing, but we'll see. You never know.
Yeah, I'm doing it on Facebook because YouTube will still try to take my stream down if I try to do it on YouTube, regardless if there's no copyright holders to that film. So
YouTube's weird. I don't know. Yeah. Facebook's weird too, though. I don't know. But I don't think Facebook takes down stuff like that. I don't think so.
No, they'll just restrict it to certain countries. That's about it. But
yeah, whatever.
This movie has no copyright holders. They're all dead and gone. So
it's all dead and buried.
Lord knows I wish I had the money to buy the copyright for it and own it, because it's one of my all-time favorite movies.
There you go. Awesome. So there you go. Next Saturday night, join John for that. And should be a lot of fun. And then I've got a couple different podcasts I'm doing next week. Is it 2 or 3? I can't even remember, but it's going to be just too much for me to do this show. But I'm looking at possibly getting some of the cast on Merlot's movie Massacre for the following week. That's very, very possible. I'll announce it as it comes together, but it looks like that is probably what's going to happen. And go support our Indiegogo still. Indiegogo is still live. We still got till the end of this month to hit our goal. Let's hit that goal. That way I don't have to owe money to people. Something like that, anyways, you guys have yourselves a very, very awesome weekend. And we will see you all in about, a little over a week for me. Okay. So have yourselves a good night.
See you guys later.
See you guys later.